Hi Stampers! I just realized that I forgot to do an announcement on my Facebook page that I was going live, but most of the time people know that I'm going live on Fridays at 2. Sorry, I am just, let me move this around. I am just trying to bring this up on my YouTube channel. There it is. All right. So let me just flip this and we can get started. This is the stamp set we're going to play with today. If I don't knock over my camera mount, there we go. So be sure to say hello when you come in, and if you are new here, let me know where you're from. I'd also love it if you haven't subscribed my channel yet to do so, because that just will help build my channel and my audience. Okay, I do have my little Chihuahua and Chihuahua puppy in here, so if I have to do a quick cleanup or something like that, please bear with me. So this is my shopping channel if you'd like to shop for Stampin' Up! Supplies. And this is the January host code. I do have a hostess earning rewards this month, and we will be closing this host code out on the 25th. So if you see anything when you're shopping that you'd like to purchase, please be sure to use that code at checkout if it's on or before the 25th of the month. And my friend Irene would appreciate that greatly. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna play with Ridiculously Awesome. And it's a pretty easy card today, but I am going to be doing a fun technique. So the technique is the chalkboard technique. So if you've never done that or heard of it before, it's really fun and actually very simple to do. So I've got some papers here ready to go. I'm using shaded spruce as my card base, and it is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at, wait a minute, am I telling you that right? Don't want to tell you wrong. You'd think I would have it down pat. So yeah, 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4.25. And I'm just going to go ahead and enforce that score there with my bone folder. So the card base there is ready. And I think I'm going to do the inside first. I've got a couple of pieces here of the white. And I think it is my smaller piece that I want to the inside, but let's just double check that. Four by 5.25. And then the patterned papers that I'm working with a couple of different packages actually. This set here is one that you can earn for free in the Celebrations brochure. So if you were to shop and spend $50, you could choose this. This is called Flower and Field Designer Series paper. You could choose this as your free gift. And there are several others to choose from as well. And the other patterned paper is this one that's got lots of fun wood textures and like it's double-sided, so there's prints on both sides, like spackle and fabric textures, all kinds of fun things in there. And this is in the annual catalog. It's called In Good Taste. And you get a lot, you get 24 sheets of double-sided paper in this package, so you're getting a lot of paper, so it is priced a little bit higher than most of the designer series papers are. And I've cut a strip. I just love these polka dots, and so I've cut a little strip out of that I wanted to do just a little strip across on the inside, just for some added fun. And I'm just going to go ahead and put adhesive. Of course, it's longer than what I need it to be, but that allows me to get it straight across here, edge to edge, and then I can just trim it off on the back side. That looks pretty straight, I think. There we go. Get my little trash bin down here. Okay. And now I can just go ahead and put that on the inside. Sometimes I don't do any decorating on the insides of my cards, and sometimes I do. It just depends. Of course, you could do stamping on the inside there too if you wanted. Or you could simply just stamp your greeting. All right, there is that. Now then, on the front, I'm going to put a layer of white, and I've cut it just 1/8 of an inch short, just so that little bit of green border is peeking out there. We do have new white. I'm still using up my Whisper white. The new white is called Basic White, and the reason that we have new white is because the company that made the Whisper white unfortunately had to close their doors due to the virus situation, which is really sad and unfortunate. So the new white is a little bit brighter, the Basic White, and from comparison that I've seen another demonstrator do, the weight is like the same. Really the biggest difference is that it's just a little bit of a brighter white. Okay, so then I have a bigger piece of this paper. It's got the flowers on the back and the polka dots on this side. And actually, I didn't want to put that down yet. Rats. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Just need it pulled up on the bottom. I think that's going to be good enough, and I will slip my silicone mat in there. And now I can put this piece on. I wanted to put ribbon around there, so that is why I didn't mean to put that down yet. But I think we're going to be able to fix it. Fix the situation. Okay. And then this piece was cut another 1/8 of an inch shorter. So this piece is actually 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. And then I'm going to use some white ribbon that is from the new mini catalog, and I just spilled my little doodads over here, so I'm picking those up. Okay, this is a double pack. It's called Sending Love. I think that's from the mini. Let me check. Maybe it was from the last mini. Yes, I'm telling you wrong. So it was from the holiday mini catalog, I believe. And it has real red and white in here. And it's a narrow ribbon, and so I am going to use this white. And I'm going to be tucking it behind here, but I want it a little bit longer because I'm going to tie a knot in here. There we go. So now I can cut this. And before I tuck it behind, I want to put a little glue dot under that knot. And I want it right about there. And I think I'll trim this end off just a little bit. It's pretty long. It's much easier to do this before you attach your paper. Just saying. Okay. Now then, there we go. And you're probably thinking, what in the world did she leave that loop like that for? That looks ridiculous. All right. Let's just snip that there at an angle. And there we go, kind of a little faux bow. Faux bow. Okay, now we've got the card base done, the inside and outside. Now we can start playing with the technique. And what you're going to need for this, now you're going to need a solid black cardstock. And my little piece here is cut at 4 1/4 by 2 7/8. And you're going to need a white craft ink or pigment ink. Now the difference, and this one is a pigment ink. The difference between a craft ink and a dye ink, which is what most of our normal ink pads are, these are dye ink, is that this is a thicker, creamier ink. It to dry it, you can set it out and let it dry, but it's going to take probably days if you do that. Normally what you use a craft ink for is embossing or or a pigment ink, is if you're going to heat emboss. If you're not going to heat emboss with it, then you simply just dry it with your heat tool. And it's okay that I got some white on there because I obviously stuck my finger in it, because I'm going to be sticking my finger in it a little more. So for this technique, I guess you can do it different ways. I find it easiest to just put ink on my finger and then rub it on. What you're going for here is to look like a semi-cleaned off chalkboard. So this chalkboard's been well used and they've erased it, but you know, it's not completely clean because there's some chalk left behind, and that is the look you're going for. So you can have as much on there or as little. You don't want to have so much on there that it just looks like it's white or too messy. And I think I'm going to call that good. Maybe a little bit more over here. Okay, so there's my sort of messy erased chalkboard. And I'm just going to get a wipe here and wipe my finger. Okay, and hopefully my little foil board won't cause any problems with the picture. It looks like that's going to be okay. All this is a piece of matte board. You can use like cereal box or cardboard, and I've covered it with tin foil, and that just protects your surface, or if you want to hold it while you're embossing or using your heat tool, it just protects, plus it helps to heat up from both sides of the paper. I'm just going to give this a quick dry. The other thing I am going to do to prepare this, and I keep spilling my little things over here, I better just move it so I don't lose them, is I'm going to brush it with some powder. Now I have this tool from, I believe this is EK Success, and it's just baby, yeah, EK, it's called EK Tools. It's just baby powder in there, and I know that because I can smell it. The other thing you can use, we used to sell an embossing buddy in our catalog, and you can make your own with just take a square of, or a rectangle of like a tube sock, and stitch 3 sides of it up. Well, you would need to fold it over in half and stitch 2 sides, fill it with like baby powder or cornstarch, and then stitch it together closed. And then you can just pat that on your paper. Now the reason you do that is because you don't want embossing powder to stick in areas that you don't want it. I'm going to be stamping with some Versamark embossing ink on here, but I only want my powder to stamp or to stick where I'm going to be stamping. I don't want it to stick anywhere else. So I'm going to just wipe my paper here with this powder. And then when I'm done heat embossing, I can take a tissue and wipe off the excess powder. And with this technique, you can't really see it on there anyway, but still I will wipe it off. Okay. So now I'm going to use Versamark. It's called a watermark stamp pad, but you can use whatever you have typically to emboss with. If it's a clear embossing ink, or you can use a white embossing ink. I could have used my white craft ink, but I'm just going to use this, and I've already got my stamp mounted. I'm using this one, Make Today Ridiculously Awesome. And when you have a big stamp like this, it's easiest to just turn it upside down and take your ink pad to your stamp. So much easier, because then you're not picking up the edges so much of the stamp, and you're getting the ink right where you want it. Now I know you can't really see that because it's clear. And I want it just kind of in the middle. You could turn it like that if you want, but I think I'm going to do it pretty much just straight. There we go. And there you can kind of see it. And then I just have a little tray here to catch my white embossing powder. And then I just go back, and anywhere that some happen to stick that I didn't get powder on or whatever, even with the powder, you'll still get a speck here and there that might stick. And I have a brush too that I will take and just brush away. There's a little tiny piece of glitter right there. Can you see that sparkling on the eye? It was probably stuck in my embossing powder or something. It still seems to be there. Let's see, what do I have that I can get that off with? Okay, I don't see it shining anymore, so let me, oh, nope, it still is sparkling at me. Stubborn thing. There we go. I think we're in business now. All right. Okay, so you know that it's done when it gets shiny, and that is shiny now. And then I will just wipe off any of that baby powder that might still be on there. Tula, don't do that. Sorry. Come here, Tula. She was over there licking the heater. We don't need that. And it just came on, so she probably would have stopped right away, I'm guessing. Okay, so there is our part of our little chalkboard. Now remember I said I was using a piece of paper from that package that had the wood grain. So I'm going to cut out a frame to put around the chalkboard. And I've got two of the stitched rectangle dies here. So I'm just going to try and line these up on here. I thought it would be fun to have the frame look like wood. And so I just need to get the inside one as evenly spaced in the outside one as I can. What looks even enough to me anyway, and I'm thinking that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hold it in place here with some Post-it note tape so that it doesn't go scooting around when I run it through my machine. Hi Donna, thanks for joining me. Okay, so I'm just going to run this through my machine and cut it. So I will keep this just because I like the strips. They'd be really good for if I wanted to make a banner or something like that and have the wood look behind it, or even emboss on top of it. I always keep any size of a scrap that I think will be useful at some point. And then if I get too many, I can throw them away. So here's my little frame. And then I have this nice piece here that I can use for something else. So we'll bring back that. And that will fit around there just right. I am going to use some liquid Tombow. I did on my original one that I made, I did try to use my fine tip glue, and it didn't want to stick very well for some reason, and I think it might have been because of the ink that I have on the paper, or maybe there was still some of that powder residue. I'm not sure why it didn't want to stick, but so then I got out my Tombow and went back over it and it stuck just fine. So just an FYI. And even the Tombow here, it dries really fast, so you don't want to take too much time when you are getting ready to glue something with it, because it's great glue. It sticks tight, but it dries fast. Okay, so I am going to lay this on here. And hopefully no glue is oozing out on the other side, but we'll see in a minute when I flip it over. One little bit up there in the corner. Okay. Tula, what you doing? Hey. All right. So I think that's going to be good. Let's bring the card base back in. And I meant to grab another package of dimensionals, so I'm just going to step away for a second and do that. You know, I put things away. I don't know if you're like me. I put things away and then I don't know where I put them. And my room's very organized. It's a little too organized. So I'm, like I said, I keep parts and pieces. So I'm just going to use up some of these. There's even one on here still. Okay. There's that, and then I will just snip these and use them. You know, there is a problem with doing that, putting things away, because sometimes when I go back through drawers and things, it's like, okay, I didn't even realize I had that. I don't know if any of you do that, but I know I do. I think I just want some here in the corners because that paper bowed a little bit when I did the heat embossing on it. So we don't want that happening. So if you haven't tried this chalkboard technique, you'll have to give it a try because there's so many different things you can do with it. And it's fun. It's just something different. There's one stamp in here, P.S. I love you. That would be really cute done with this technique, and give it to your significant other just for no reason at all. That would be fun. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this here onto the front. Tula's over there chewing on, I've got two little beds in here for them. And she's over there chewing on one of them, which I would rather have her not do. She's chewing, there's like a little label tag on it, and that's what she's focused on chewing on right now. Okay, so there's that. And then out of this same paper here, actually this one with the flowers, I fussy cut out some of those little flowers. And I went ahead and did that ahead of time because I didn't want to make you suffer through watching me fussy cut. Oh, okay. So I cut out 3 little flowers and I cut out some of the leaves. And I am going to pop them up as well. Let me cut some more of these. And then I will, when I'm done with this video, I'll go searching for where I hid my other packages of dimensionals. All right, now because I've already got this popped up, I want to overlap these, so I don't want to put the dimensional where it's going to be on top of the chalkboard part. So I put it at the top of the flower there, so just the bottom part's overlapping. And then here I'm going to glue one here to the bottom. I think I will put it right about there. And Just figuring out how I want to position that one. So I'll put my, let's see here. Put that right there. There we go. And then I've got these little leaves. Hey, don't do that. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you guys. She was chewing on my electric cord to my light here. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle anybody. Okay, I'm gonna tuck this under that flower. No, little stinker. Okay, and then this one is a smaller one that has just 2 leaves on it. If nothing else, hi Joanna. I just woke everybody up accidentally. Okay. There is that one. And actually I'm just gluing them to the underneath side of the flower. So there is that one. And then of course I need to add a little bit of bling here. And I'm just using the rhinestones. My putty's a little bit too long here. There we go. Now I did make one change on this card from my initial one, and that was the ribbon. On the first one that I did, put the lids back on my products here. On the first one, I did this woven trim, and I just kind of decided it needed a little more pizzazz, so that's why I went with the white. And I thought it kind of popped out a little bit more with the white. I mean, they're both okay. And my knot doesn't look quite right. I could put some glue dots on the tails there. It's supposed to be a faux bow, All right, so that is the chalkboard technique. I hope you'll give it a try. It's really fun. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. And I will be back on Tuesday, probably around 5 Pacific time. Until then, happy stamping. Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Joanna. I think you go by Joe, right? Thanks, Joe. Okay. See ya. Bye-bye.